Everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we are super excited here at my house because we are going to try something brand new. Never had this before. I knew I wanted to cook something simple and easy tonight, yet absolutely tasty. So we found a recipe for a Greek chicken bowls, and it looks absolutely amazing. So we're going to try that right here, right now, today on In the Kitchen with Sandy. I've got about 5 nice sized chicken breasts here. These are all about the same in thickness, so I think they're gonna work out perfectly. So we're gonna marinate those first. So what we're gonna do is, when I marinate things, I like to add it to a nice big Ziploc bag, especially if it's chicken or beef or you know, anything like that, any type of meat. It's just much easier if you just put it in a Ziploc baggie. That way you can just shake it around and get it nice and coated. We're gonna add all the ingredients right in here. Let me get rid of that. All right, to this bag, oh look at that, it's gonna stand up for me. We're gonna add about the juice of 1 lemon. I'm hoping no seeds go in there, but if it don't, never mind, one just went in there. So you're gonna need probably about 3-4 tablespoons of lemon. I would suggest using fresh. That's the best. Always use fresh. I'm not worried about fishing that seed out. We'll get that before we start cooking it. Then we're gonna add a couple tablespoons of olive oil. We're gonna add some red wine vinegar. The recipe calls for white wine vinegar, but I couldn't find any at the store, so we're gonna try red. About a nice tablespoon of that. Red wine, white wine. I think we'll be okay, don't you? And we're gonna use about 2½ tablespoons of oregano. This is gonna be nice and seasoned. I can tell right now already just by these flavors. They're gonna combine really well. Now, if you're using less chicken than I'm using, I love leftovers. Love leftovers, so that's why I'm using more of the chicken. Switch out utensils here. I'm going to use about a teaspoon of thyme. Now, if you've got, good Lord, what's going on here? It's like hard to get a teaspoon in there. Now the recipe only calls for about a teaspoon of garlic, but you know what? Who do they think we are? I'm going to use about 2 big teaspoons, 2 heaping teaspoons. It is what it is, right? And then a teaspoon of pepper, somewhere around there, and about a ½ teaspoon of salt. See how easy that is? Put everything right in the bag. Now we're just gonna seal it. I'm gonna get some of the air out, which will make it easier to work with. If you don't have any Ziploc bags, feel free to go ahead and just put it in bowls. That's what I used to do in bowls until I discovered these things. And then you're just gonna kind of work it into each piece of that chicken. And then once you get that really worked in there, massaged in there, then we're gonna put these in the refrigerator and let them marinate probably for about an hour until I start dinner, which is probably gonna be about an hour, hour and a half. The longer the better, always. When you're marinating, the rule of thumb is the longer the better. The longer it marinates, the tastier your meat will be. I've got 1 English cucumber here that I'm just slicing in quarters. I seriously need a new knife set. I had to have body cucumber. Now, I'm just dicing mine about like so. Now we're going to get our tomatoes chopped up as well. You just kind of want them in bite-sized pieces. You don't want them too big, or definitely you don't want them too little. Now we're going to add these right in with our cucumbers. And then we're going to add about a 1/2 cup of red onion to this. The recipe calls for about 1/4 cup, but you know what? Where I'm using more chicken breast, 5 chicken breasts, I'm going to use a little bit extra. You got to be careful with this stuff though, because it is, you know, you don't want it to overpower your whole dish. So I'm going to just kind of eyeball it here. I don't want as much of this as I have the cucumber and tomato, that's for sure. And for my onion, I definitely want smaller pieces. Now the recipe also calls for these Kalamata olives. And you're not going to believe me when I tell you. The recipe calls for 29 of them. Calls for 29 Kalamata olives, but I'm going to use my judgment. I love these things, so I might go 30. I'm going to cut them in half. Now, if you don't like these, if you want to replace yours with green olives, black olives, you certainly could do that. Or just don't use them at all. Now we're going to start adding our seasonings to this. We're going to use about a tablespoon of olive oil. That's a big tablespoon, isn't it? And about a tablespoon and a half of the red wine vinegar. Like I said, the recipe calls for white wine vinegar, but this is all my store had. That's about 2 tablespoons. We're going to add some salt. Some crushed black pepper. I'm running very low on garlic powder. We're going to use about a teaspoon of garlic powder. This is a 1/2 teaspoon measurement. About a teaspoon of oregano. I'm not used to measuring, so y'all know that already. And then we're going to use about a 1/4 of a teaspoon of we use about a 1/4 of a teaspoon of dill weed. Let's go with just a little tiny bit more. That smells so good. You're also going to toss in some feta cheese. This is the crumbled feta cheese. It calls for about a 1/2 cup, but you know what? I think I'm going to add a little bit more. When I told my husband we were going to try this recipe, he was super excited about it. And if you know my husband, he is just like, he doesn't like to try new things. Not too often. That's why, you know, we get in a food rut a lot. I get in a food rut a lot because I get tired of eating the same thing over and over again. I gotta have a bite of that. Let me have a bite of that. Man, that's good. Now we're just gonna mix this all together. Look how amazing that looks. It is super bright and beautiful. Oh my gosh. Now we're gonna put this in the refrigerator once we get it well combined. I gotta go in for a taste of this. Mmm. That is a money maker. That's delicious. Oh, look how amazing this chicken looks. It's been in the refrigerator probably for about an hour and a half. Look at all those seasonings. I'm over here in the corner because I'm going to use my air fryer to cook this. You can cook this on top of the stove. Just fry it until reaches 165 degrees, you know, to be safe. But I'm going to cook mine in the air fryer because I like the way my chicken comes out of the air fryer. I think it's absolutely amazing. So I'm going to put this in my air fryer and I'm going to get started cooking my rice. Look at that. And I'm hoping all 5 of these pieces, good Lord, somebody's thirsty, will fit in my air fryer at once. I think we're going to be good. I think we're going to be good. I didn't get the other one out of the plastic yet because, well, might have to do 4 and then 1. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this in the air fryer at 380 degrees, probably for about 12 minutes. Now I've got 2 cups of rice that I'm just going to rinse thoroughly. I had to measure it out. You know I'm not good with measuring. I'm going to use 4 cups of water. I'm going to cook my rice. Keep an eye on the chicken. We're going to put this whole thing together. It's really good. The flavors are amazing. That dill is really coming through. It's really, really good. It's light. If you want to do low carb, you could make cauliflower rice. This is absolutely amazing, just the way it is. I'm glad I decided to make it. It's definitely going to be in my recipe rotation. And I hope you give it a try. You know I love you guys very much. I appreciate you. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye. Take care.